chainmail, or do I have to find a chainmail?
Context? Madam, required context. Anyways, hello everybody. Welcome to the stream.
I'm not giving you context for shit. Oh, wait, it's YouTube. Can't swear. Whoopsies.
Yeah.
Can I swear?
Well, we're also not supposed to be swearing within the first 30 seconds of the video, ma'am. Papa YouTube doesn't like that.
Well, if you edit this, then you can cut it out.
I mean, okay, yeah. Yeah. Hello, everybody. Yeah, I know I don't show my face on camera very often, but I have several announcements to make. First, I'd like to say thank you for your support. I'd like to give a huge shout out to my cousins over in the Garcia family. Go say hi to them. I'm saying hi, and I'm also saying thank you for your support on this channel for the last 3 years it's been since the start of this channel, and almost 6 years since the start of my main channel. So I thank you guys for that. I'd also like to say that this video is sponsored, well, kind of. This video is sponsored by me and also you, the viewers that make it happen. I am going to a trip. I'm going to London. I'm going to London during spring break, so that is sometime in March.
Spring break, that's so far away.
I am saying this because I am technically being sponsored by Regal Rendition, our local school theater program. I have put links in the description for them. You can go donate for our trip so that you can send me to London.
What bastard gets to go to London? I didn't get to go to London when I was in that program.
Sorry.
I was in drama last year and I didn't go to fucking London.
So yeah.
I mean, to be fair, Drama Mama was pregnant, but I don't care.
So yeah, I thank y'all. Please go donate. Please, for the love of God, I need to get more donations. Please and thank yous. I also put links in the description for the Lahaina recovery. You guys can donate towards making sure that Lahaina rebuilds after the fire last year. Long-time viewers of the channel know that around that time last year, I put out a few videos and put my links for their for you guys to donate in the description so that y'all could help out. So I'm doing this again. Please go help them out. Go help them rebuild. And I also put a link in the description for Paepae o Heia, which is a nonprofit organization dedicated to preserving a few hundred-year-old ancient fishing pond, that was created by Native Hawaiians prior to even being discovered by anybody. And they preserve they preserve the local culture and the the actual fishing pond itself. Please go donate, or better yet, you guys can go volunteer. You can go volunteer. You can go do that. That's a thing now. Go volunteer if you live in Hawaii. I mean, you could theoretically come all the way from Los Angeles or New York and then go volunteer. But I mean, I'm not asking you to do that. I'm asking you to go donate, or if you live here in Hawaii, please go check them out. As I said, I left a link in the description.
Colleges like volunteer hours.
That's true. For those of you who are my age and you're in high school, they like that. Colleges like that. I say that as I'm wearing a USC shirt. So yeah, please go check them out.
Don't matter. You go to your place.
Go check them out. Go check out my links in the description. Donate to whoever you can, whenever you can. The drama program helps me out. So the more you donate to them,
and also builds to my suffering. So
that's true.
You want to make me suffer?
That would make it extra funny. But yeah, please gives money. It kind of like the more you guys give us, the less that we have to fall back on. So the more donations we get, the more stuff that we can have paid for. So yeah, that, and I don't want to get Drama Mama angry because she's been asking me about this for the last week. So I'm sorry if you're watching this in the...
Don't make Drama Mama pay for shit. She just had a baby.
Exactly. I'm saying this now. I'm sorry in the future if Drama Mama is watching. Please, I am sorry. I'm doing things. Anyways, let's get on to the video.
Do I see my boy? Can I see my boy?
This video, this video is dedicated to my great-grandfather, Daryl Calhoun. He was a U.S. Army medic during World War II. So this goes out to him. He passed away a few years ago now. So before I even started my main channel. So I do this kind of stuff, hoping that he's looking on, and yeah. Anyways, let's get on with the video on a, I don't want to start this video on a bummer, or a series of bummers. So yeah.
I'd be a bummer.
Do never say that.
Like a stereotypical white girl.
Never say that again. I will deport you back to Florida.
Never say it like that again.
I will deport you back to Florida. I hold no illusions about.
That's a good deal.
I hold no illusions about Floridians being chaotic, beings of eldritch suffering.
Oh, come on, you're happy to know me.
I mean, yes, but I'm not happy to know most I'm not gonna lie, I'm not happy to know most of the Floridian people I know.
Hey.
Aside.
They have bad rap, okay? Most of us get a bad rap. It's the crazy ones that are fucking gators that have the bad rap, okay?
Guys, I shouldn't need to say this, but don't stick your dick in anything that isn't human. I shouldn't need to say that, but evidently.
You don't need to say it to me, because I'm not one of the Floridians that does that shit. My mouse. Why is my mouse?
Also, for just saying this for y'all, yeah, just be positive in your life. And please
I
know.
like being negative.
Well, okay. Gee, thanks. And please know that you are loved by someone, somewhere.
You are.
So long as you don't live in Cincinnati, Ohio.
It was wrong with Ohio. Actually, a lot of shit's wrong with Ohio. Never mind.
Wait, are you? Do you want me to go through a list?
Nope, I've been. I'm pretty sure my uncle that lives there is the pedophile. I realize.
Yeah. Okay. That we're not talking about that. Anyways. So what do you know about planes?
Planes? Is that what you said?
Yes, aircraft. Plane.
Like, basically fucking nothing. My brother wanted to be a pilot for a few years of his life, but he kind of grew out of that and was like, you know what? I'm gonna be a dentist.
Okay, I'm not gonna. That's a fucking weird pivot. Pilot to dentist.
Apparently, dentists make a lot of money in West Virginia.
Yeah, okay, that I can understand. Well, West Virginia?
Meth mouse.
The fuck are y'all eating in West Virginia?
Meth.
Oh, okay, well, that would explain the dentist. So yeah, so you don't know anything about planes in general.
Not really.
Okay, well, this is gonna be interesting for you then, because today's video is we're gonna be talking about fighter jets. Yes, for those of you fucking bandits on screen who are watching my video, you'll see that yes, that every aircraft that you can see on screen is a propeller plane. I'll get into that. Just you fucking wait. Otherwise, I will show up in your walls.
He already knows where I live. He'll figure out where you live too.
You cannot hide.
That's why you should subscribe today. To keep him out of your walls.
Subscribe today, and I won't fucking hide in your walls.
See, I'm a great friend. I promote your channel.
That's okay. Fair enough. So our story.
I tried to get Sky to scream with us. I did try.
Our story begins actually a very long time ago. Our story, despite the fact that jet technology is kind of new, it actually goes back kind of a ways. So jet technology has existed since the 1930s. However, keep in mind that back then, jet engines were quite shit, as we say in the technical field.
Oh yeah, that's a technical term.
That's my technical term that I'm going to be using. I'm going to be using a lot of technical terms today. So basically, early jet engines kind of sucked ass, and they couldn't really propel anything. They need a lot. The original ones needed a lot more thrust than they had going for it.
I don't like when you say the word thrust.
God fucking damn it. You know, it was normal, right?
If my mama ever watches this one day, she's gonna be very disappointed in me. Anyway.
If your parents are watching this one day, they're gonna be disappointed in you.
Honestly, Drama Mama already doesn't like me. I don't really care.
Okay. Anyways, so one thing about
yes.
So here, real question: who do you think invented the jet engine?
I don't know. Isn't that for you to tell me, Mr. Smarty, Mr. Smart Guy?
Well, I want you to take a guess. I want to see what you think.
That's... Anyway, what?
Who do you think created it?
I don't know.
Like, just any country. Just name a country.
Either Germany or Japan.
Surprisingly, no. Despite the amount of absolute cocaine shit that Germany was on during World War II, they did not, in fact, create the jet engine. Despite what people say. I'll get into that. So, it was actually developed in the UK. And it was being developed by the Gloucester Company. If you guys don't know the Gloucester Company, they built the Meteor, and they mainly built a lot of medium-scale bombers and some like night fighters at the time. They're not really known for their aircraft products are mostly like parts, not necessarily the actual planes themselves. So basically they decided, one of their engineers was like, dang, this new technology, it's kind of interesting. What if we built a plane around it? Keep in mind that this was like purely at like a theoretical stage when they were doing this, and work on this started in 1938. So this starts a lot earlier than a lot of people think. Again, this is why I say no, the Nazis didn't make the first jet engines. It was the British. And here's the interesting thing. So they build this engine or whatever. Specifically, Rolls-Royce is the people contracted to actually build the engine. Originally, I say originally, the British government, they were just kind of interested, if only to see what it was going to do. They weren't necessarily interested to see... The Royal Air Force was not exactly interested. They were interested into seeing as to what it could do, but they didn't actually expect anything out of it. Basically, this was one of their 1930s fuck around and find out projects. Basically, we test something, see if it works, and then turn it off. Yeah, this is kind of stupid, and I'll get into that. It gets increasingly more frustrating as time goes on. And I mean that quite literally, and I don't understand why they kept doing this. Actually, come to think of it, they never really stopped, did they? Anyways, so in 1940, they build the E-28/39. This is like a prototype. This is a prototype aircraft. It's also the first of its kind. The first aircraft in general to actually have a jet engine mounted to it. However, slight thing. This thing was a bit wonky. A bit silly. And honestly, it had some problems. Mostly stability issues. However, they kind of fixed it. However, so in late 1940, the U.S. sends a delegation to the U.K. to see what they were cooking in their experimental technologies department, so that they could see what they wanted to grab. Essentially, they're like, "Dang, y'all have some nice loot. Can I have some?" Basically, they wanted to copy off of Britain's homework. That's literally what it is. There's nothing else.
Yeah, a lot of people want to do that.
Basically, that's what they were trying to do. And you know what? It kind of fucking worked. Um, so they decided. So they went to the Gloucester plant, and they're like, "Hey, you want to see what we've been cooking up?" And they're like, "Sure, I guess." And so basically, they show this aircraft, and the dude in charge of the U.S. delegation, he's a guy called Henry Hap Arnold. This dude became literally the person in charge of the entire U.S. Air Force. He's if the U.S. Air Force had main characters, this guy, he is the guy. So he's very smart, and he's like, "Dang, y'all just wanted to fuck with this? We could use this." So immediately, a contract goes out to a bunch of manufacturers in the US, and they said, "Build something with this engine. Don't care what, build it. We want a fighter of some kind. So build something, I don't know. Something dark side." So they give this contract out to a bunch of different companies. The company that eventually wins the contract is Lockheed. Well, eventually. However, for the time being, the winner is proclaimed as Bell, the Bell Aeronautics Company. Here's the thing. Bell is not real. Aside from a few planes, they're not really they're not known for planes. You know what the Bell Aeronautical Company is eventually known for?
Nope.
Helicopters. They build helicopters. They don't build planes. Albeit at the time, they built the aircraft that is on screen right now. This is the P-39, also known as the Airacobra. They also built its kind of cousin, the P-63, which is called the King Cobra. But aside from some fighter aircraft, they didn't really build planes. They kind of also just built parts. So the aircraft that they kind of eventually, I say eventually, designed is, if I can go find it in this tech tree, if it's even in this tech tree, I don't remember if it is or if it isn't. It is not. Okay, well that's sad. Okay, anyways, so the aircraft that they eventually designed is a plane called the let me see. Let me check my notes. The P-59 Aerocomet. The P-59 Aerocomet. And I'm not gonna lie, it's fat. Unironically, the plane is just fat.
A fat ass.
I don't know who the hell designed this. It's fucking stupid. So naturally, this plane had fucking stability issues. That and its engines were underpowered. Big sad. It's also the same problem that was on the E-28 initially. So, there's that. Anywho, so they're working on that. In the meantime, the Germans, they independently discover the technology on their own, and they're like, "Dang, this stuff's kind of cool. What can we use it for? Planes. Dang. Let's make a plane." So the thing that they eventually design is the HE-178. It's stupid. So they throw it in the bin. And then they design the HE-280, the first jet fighter. But guess what? It's shit. So they throw that in the bin. You'll notice this happens a lot. they're just like, you know what? Let's build this, and then realize, no, that was a stupid idea. Throw it in the bin. However, then again, they also do this with great ideas, so it balances itself out. And keep in mind, this is when No Mustache Man is in power.
Are we not allowed to say his name on YouTube?
Depends. Funny Adolf Mustache Man. Yeah, that's his name. I'm not gonna say his actual name because I don't want YouTube to get mad at me again.
What YouTube get mad at you for?
Apparently, they get mad at you if you talk about terrorists or anything regarding World War II.
That kind of makes sense.
They don't like it when you mention anything that Japan actually did during World War II.
Huh.
At least when it comes to the war crimes.
Is it a Japanese company?
No, it's owned by Google.
Okay.
But it kind of sucks because they also don't like it anytime I mention funny Mustache Man.
Well, I don't think he's considered funny.
Well, killing 30 million people does that to you.
I also don't think people like it when you call him an artist. A lot of people do that. It's not great.
I mean...
And honestly, he was a mediocre artist at best. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. There wasn't anything to cancel him over back then. Still should have let him into...
We don't know.
Still should have let him into school.
If let him into the school, maybe he wouldn't have become Hitler. Oh, whoops, sorry.
God damn it!
I'm sorry.
We cannot cash in on that YouTube money now. Why have you done this to me?
Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Why has this happened to me?
I made my mistakes.
Shark paint. Ooh ha ha. Anyways.
Shark Tank.
So the Germans, they decided, you know what, let them cook. So, they build this.
Thank you, Mr. Creeper.
They build this thing. So yeah, they build this thing, the ME-262, or as the actual nickname is in German, Schwalbe, which just means swallow.
Oh,
and no, I will not in fact put that in the transcript because I'll try and fucking spell it again. Anyways, ME-262.
I'm Schwalbe, get over it.
ME-262, produced by a company called Messerschmitt. Messerschmitt, they build all kinds of planes, like the Bf-109 and the Bf-110, and a bunch of other stuff. So yeah, they designed this thing using 2 jet engines. Why 2 jet engines? Because, guess what? They were underpowered. Big sad. The biggest sad. You know another problem with this plane?
What?
Stability. That's why they have these angled wings. Because it's stability, and it kind of sucked. Stability on these early jets kind of shit. There's also the ME-328, but I'm not going to get into that because that is a whole other piece of shit. So they designed the Me-262. And unlike the E-28, it actually gets put into service into the German Air Force. The Luftwaffe. And yes, I just called it the Luftwaffe, not the Luftwaffe. Because I like waffles. Try to fucking
waffles.
stop me. Anyways, so
Don't you have a little bit of German in you? Or
yes. Anyways,
I can't tell if that's a good thing for you or not.
it means I can invade Poland, so you know. Anyways, aside from
I
it,
wouldn't suspect you.
anywho's, so they built this thing, they send it out into combat, and guess what? Fucking it shreds almost anything it comes into contact with, because Allied fighters, they don't go that fast. They don't go 512 miles an hour. Yeah, the propellers don't go that fast. Usually. They don't go that fast.
Keyword being usually.
The keyword being usually. The only plane that I can really think of that could get close is maybe the P-38, if you can get it up to speed. Because it's the first American plane to go past 400 miles an hour.
Mm-hmm.
However, slight problem with the P-38. The P-38 is what we would call a heavy fighter. Meaning this dainty little thing that is on my screen that goes really, really fast is going to outrun it.
Mm-hmm.
Not only that, but it's going to outmaneuver it. Because the P-38 has the turning circle of a fucking football field. Which is bad. So, basically, Allied fighters, they got fucking curb stomped. It was terrible. The very big sad. Naturally, the Allies are like, oh snap. The fuck are we gonna do? This thing is running circles around us, and it's going stupid fast. What if we built a stupid fast aircraft to fight it?
It worked.
So, the British, being British, and deciding that, you know what? Building one extremely advanced technology aircraft isn't enough. We need to build another one. This is the Meteor, produced by Gloucester, since they invented the fucking jet engine. Albeit the company who actually built the engine is Rolls-Royce, but that's its own thing. As you can see, once again, you have the twin engines. However, you'll notice that like most planes, it has a straight wing instead of angle. And you may be asking, why? Why no angle? It's simple. These motherfuckers couldn't come up with an angle wing. That's not even a joke. They didn't really think about it. They thought it was like okay, but it wasn't like superb. So nobody really went and ended up doing it. That's literally their excuse. You can go Google that. Kind of sad. So but they built this thing. One slight problem. Despite the fact that it's now seeing service in like 44, 45, effectively speaking, they didn't really get any combat service. So like they were in the military and they were like available, but they weren't actually used. Kind of cringe. This is where the war kind of ends. Also worth mentioning that the Germans gave their designs to the Japanese, who then built their own called the Nakajima Kiska. It was pretty shit. Mostly because they copied all of the wrong things off of the ME-262. That's kind of an L moment. It's kind of a skill issue, Japan. The hell are you doing? Also, Italy was working on a jet plane called the Caproni Capini. It was pretty shit. I mean, I'm pretty sure you could find a replication of one in like a museum somewhere, but they're pretty terrible. Also done before the war. Anywho's. So, World War II is over. And you may be asking, what does that mean for planes? Well, it's simple. Development continued. The Americans created this thing. The fuck?
Of course we did.
What is this nose? Please tell me. What is this nose? You know what this nose reminds me of?
What?
Gru. This plane is just Gru from Despicable Me. Think about it. This plane
Yeah,
is
kinda.
This plane is just Gru. Anyways, so they built that. It did terrible. And it's worth mentioning that for a while, like our jet engines in the U.S., our engines kind of sucked. That and our jet plane designs kind of were a bit shit. So you may be asking, what did we learn? It's simple. We didn't learn anything. At least until Operation Paperclip happened. Now, I don't know.
Dumb name for an operation.
I don't know if you know about. I don't know if you know anything about Operation Paperclip.
Not a thing.
Operation Paperclip is something that happened post World War II. Britain and the United States, they're like, dang, the Germans had all this sweet technology and all this sweet research lying around. It would be a shame if we let that go to waste. So, not only did they steal equipment from Germany, they also stole people. All the people. Like anyone remotely like important on like any of the projects and whatever, they were stolen. Just kind of yoink. They're like, we need you to work on our project for us. Like now. So please do that. And they're kind of like, well, shit. That kind of sucks. I don't necessarily like being kidnapped and taken from our homes. However, one slight problem. The Russians were doing the same thing, so it doesn't matter. If the Russians get their hands on German technology, that would be bad. Because commies are assholes. They stinky. So, the higher-ups at the U.S. Air Force and also the other branches, they decided, if you can't beat them, join them. So they basically stole a bunch of German scientists and technology from Germany and then shipped them back to the U.S. and Britain. In fact, one of the major people that they stole was a guy called Werner von Braun. You know what he designed?
What?
The V2 rocket, which is the first The first ballistic missile ever built. Oh, it's also the first man-made object to enter space. And guess what? They basically took him so that he could work for NASA. He was literally one of the first people they took to NASA when NASA was eventually founded, like in the 50s. He was one of the first people they wanted, since he already had experience with rockets and whatever. So yeah, he helped us get to the moon. Also, he was still working for NASA up until the early 1980s. Also worth mentioning that he was a former member of the Nazi Party. He was a former member of the Nazi Party. And
yeah, I think that's always worth.
And also worth mentioning that at his at the sites where he built the V2 rockets, a lot of them used free labor.
YouTube doesn't like it when you say that word either, do they?
No, they do not.
Okay.
They also operated a concentration camp right next to his manufacturing plant, so there's that. Anywho,
goody.
Anywho, we're not gonna get into that. At least in this video. Anywho, basically, they stole a bunch of scientists for science things. And they're like, dang, give us all your research right now. Otherwise, we're going to give you to the Russians. And the Russians are a lot less civil than we are. Because usually, they send you to Siberia.
That's not good.
That's not good. I'm not a doctor, but I don't want to go to fucking Siberia. That's the worst eldritch curse that can be sent to you in the 1930s and 40s. You're going to Siberia.
Go to Siberia.
Anywho, basically, you know what else we managed to get our hands on? So when we were in Germany, we managed to find freaking they had a really big ass facility that had like wind tunnels and all this advanced technology just lying around. Also, it was named after Hermann Göring, the commander of the actual German Air Force. So, it says something when when it's named after the literal bad guy. The literal big bad evil guy. It says something when there's a building named after him. You know for a fact that there's going to be all of the loot. All of the lootations.
All of the loot.
Yes.
Also because all of the bad shit happened there.
Well, that's its own story. Anywho, basically, they
experiment on 20 from there or what? Or something?
Well, not really. They basically experimented on all kinds of plane-related things. Also, in an interesting twist, he usually never this is one of the major facilities where they didn't even allow forced laborers to work. So this is where all of the educated people were doing this kind of stuff. The people who actually knew what.
Slavery onto his list of criminal offenses.
Well, we do. It's just not at this facility. Also, so you said the word, so I don't think YouTube's going to be happy with us.
Oh, it slipped out. I'm sorry.
Damn it. God fucking damn it. Anywho, so they're doing this shit, and they're like, they're testing some of this stuff, and they're like, damn, these guys were like leagues ahead of us. How the fuck did they lose the war? It's simple.
America brute forces it? I don't know.
Hitler was stupid. Well, okay, maybe
Now
not.
you said the word.
Shit. It's simple. Funny Mustache Man was a bit dumb. Well, maybe not stupid, but he was a bit not the smartest. Not the most strategically minded.
He just wanted people to die.
Yeah. Anywho, basically, so the Americans get our hands on this stuff, and we're like, oh, they had all kinds of shit. They were even trying to mass produce one of these things in like 1944, and it didn't work. Guess why?
Mustache Man?
Nope. They just didn't have the. They literally just didn't have the materials. Half of this shit was just theoretical. Like, they designed a jet bomber, and they built like 100 of them, and that was it, because they were broke as shit, and they didn't have any more supplies to actually use them. Also, despite building these jet bombers or whatever, the other reason why they didn't use them was because they didn't have the fuel. So basically, they built a bunch of them, but they didn't have the fuel to actually fly them. Kind of cringe. Another one of their batshit creations, if I can go just scroll down here and aha, there it is. There's my fucking space kraut magic. This fucking Dorito. I don't know if you can see my screen, but this is a Dorito. They designed this. They built one. Well, actually, they built two, but they crashed one. And then the other one was literally flown back to the US. Oh, they also created what's called the Fiesler FI-103R, also called the Reichenberg. It's another jet plane. However, I think they took a little bit of a a Japanese turn to it. Do you want to know why I say that?
Why?
This is a man-piloted version of the V-1 flying bomb. Basically, they took a cruise missile and were like, you know what, let's stick a man in it. And then they realized that, unlike that, this was kind of stupid. However, they sent the designs over to Japan anyways. And guess what? Japan liked it, because kamikaze. So. Because Japan.
And I'm pretty sure YouTube's not going to like that word either. Oh, Villager, you scared me.
I mean, I haven't gotten in trouble for it yet. Anywho's, they also created. So the U.S. using some of this knowledge, they created a bunch of planes. The FR Fireball, produced by Ryan, which is. It is the most abominable piece of fucking shit in the fucking universe. Stupid, 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 stupid. Stupid. You'll notice that some of these people They're fucking stupid.
I understand it now.
So they also went and designed a few other jets. However, the main kind of this is where like the story kind of pivots. So remember how like Lockheed and Bell were the first people to work on this kind of stuff in the U.S. at least.
Yeah.
So the North American Aviation Company, they got their hands on some of these plans and whatever, and they're like, "Oh hey, guys, our designs that we like thought of but we didn't actually use, they actually fucking work." Because they had designed a bunch of planes with sweep wings or angled wings. They never actually put them on a plane because they never actually decided to test it yet. But they wanted to. And ultimately, the plane that came out of it was this. The F-86. This is the first American fighter jet that actually works. We don't talk about the Navy. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Every time you say don't worry about it, it makes me worry about it 10 times more. If you didn't mention the name, then I wouldn't have said anything about the name.
So here's the one slight thing. The Russians did in fact get their hands on some prototypes and some like documents and whatever. So the Russians, they found a design called the TA. Hold on, let me quickly. The Focke-Wulf TA-183. Yes, that is Focke, as in F-O-C-K-E.
As in, fuck, are you?
Jawohl. Jawohl, mein Kamerad. So anyways.
Fuck you.
So basically, they're like, huh, this looks neat. What if we tried to build it? So they created so Mikoyan and Gurevich, they collaborated together to create a plane called the MiG-9. It was actually kind of shit. However, it told them what they needed to know. Also, I'd like to mention it looks like this. And if it looks goofy, that is because it is in fact very goofy.
Almost everything you show me looks goofy.
The fuck is... Why does this look like a hog nose?
I'm pretty sure not a lot of people are going to know what that means.
It looks like the nose of a hog. I don't... It is what it sounds like. It is the nose of a freaking hog minus the warts. So yeah, they created this thing. You'll never guess what the Russians found out.
What did the Russians find out?
They realized that it was unstable as shit. And that it was pretty trash. Basically, they went back and decided, you know what? Let's go back from scratch. We fucked this up. Try it again. Basically, they used the lessons that they learned from this thing to create life. This thing.
Oh, Victor Frankenstein was German.
Not what I'm referencing. Also, I'd like to mention that from now on, every time I mention a Russian aircraft of some kind, I will be referring to it by its NATO, its NATO call out, because Basically, I'm going to be using the nicknames that NATO has assigned them. So the MiG-9 is called the Fargo, and this thing, I cannot actually say its name on YouTube. But I will tell you that it starts with an F.
Is it a slur that a lot of people use against my kind?
Yes.
Ah.
It is usually referred to gay people, albeit at the time that they were writing these down, it referred to a brand of cigarettes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're talking about cigarettes, not a.
Happy a lot of the times.
This, not so much. I don't know who could be happy with this. Also, I'm not even gonna lie. This looks the front looks a little sus. I don't know how I feel about this. I've never really seen the front of this thing. I've actually seen it in person, but I've never actually looked in the front of it. How do I what do I say about this? Children, if you're watching at home, I'm sorry.
Don't say that word.
I'm sorry if
I'm pretty sure no children are going to be watching at home and going, you know what, World War II planes are very interesting. Unless it's nap time. And they put it on accidentally.
Anywho, so they created that. I am not going to be referring to the MiG-15 by its NATO call sign for legal reasons. Because
and also ethnic reasons.
What ethnic reasons are there for not saying the F slur?
Did I say the wrong thing? I think I said the wrong thing. Hi, Saadi. Ethical?
Ethical. Reasons. There we go. Ethical, not ethnic.
Oopsies.
You did an oopsie. Also, guys, just a reminder that Sweden managed to make a plane. Sweden managed to make a fighter jet before Russia. Let me quickly just. Is it? No, it's not that. Let me quickly. Okay, it's this. I think it's this thing. Yeah, this is it. They created this. Or one of these versions has an actual jet engine. I don't remember which one. Is it this one? Yeah, there we go. So yeah, this thing has a jet engine. They created this before Russia actually built a capable fighter plane. So yeah, just a reminder that Sweden, with their IKEA, still manages to be better than those stinky Russians. I'm sorry for you non-existent Russian viewers. Let me put it into simple terms. You suck. Anywho. So, unfortunately, this was during all of this development or whatever. This was right after World War II. You know the other problem with developing a bunch of highly advanced technology and whatever after World War II?
People want to steal it?
No. Well, that, and also, guess what? Everyone is broke as shit. So a lot of people just didn't want to pay for it. Like the Americans. So even though they designed probably one of the best, fighter planes of all time, at the time, the F-86 Sabre, guess what?
Mm.
They were broke, so they're like, you know what? Let's put it on the back burner for now. This was a bit of a cringe move. Kind of a skill issue. Also worth mentioning that all of these, like, first generation fighters, another one of their, like, distinguishing categories is the fact that a lot of these, like, kinds of aircraft are what we would call in the subsonic or high subsonic or transsonic range.
Mm-hmm.
So subsonic means it's going slower than the speed of sound. Transsonic means that they're like almost there, but they're not quite right there. They're like in the 600 to 700 mile an hour range. So they're going very fast, but they're not going fast enough to break the sound barrier, at least normally. The F-86 has broken the sound barrier, though. Not an accident, but they broke it. Also worth mentioning that the pilot who did it was Chuck Yeager. So there's that. So when I say, like, development on these kinds of planes was slow, I really do mean slow. A lot of them just stopped working on it. The British, once again using their penchant for creating something highly advanced and then not using it ever, they actually designed a supersonic aircraft. But Parliament wasn't interested, so they didn't build it. However, the Americans were interested, so they gave them the plans, and that eventually created the Bell X-1, which then went on to break the sound barrier. So Britain could have broken the sound barrier before we did. And they fucking didn't. Please explain.
I can't.
How the hell? Why? Whomst the fuck? Whomsoever the fuck. What kind of blithering idiot? So yeah, they built a bunch of these. I will now, finally, after an hour of talking about this, I will now talk about the planes that are in this category. HE-178, HE-280, ME-328, the ME-262, HE-162, basically the Germans' idea for trying to mass produce this thing, or just mass produce fighter planes. It didn't work. They built 160 of them and then stopped because they were broke. The FI-103, the HO-229, produced by Horton. I usually call it the Ho because the people who fawn over this piece of shit are whores, and there's no other way to put that. I can insult you guys on Twitter who are saying, oh, the Germans created this super stealthy aircraft. It's not stealthy. It's made out of fucking wood. You can still detect it on radar. I read your Twitter posts. I see your shit posting on TikTok at 3 a.m. And you're stupid. That's what you are. Stupid. Anyways.
You're so stupid.
I know. And sometimes I take pleasure in that.
Don't worry, Chad. He's also mean to me, so.
That's because you have a skill issue sometimes.
I do not. You have a skill issue.
Says the one not going to London. Anywho.
That's it. I'm watching the Star Wars movie at home without you.
Do not. I will
I
will throw my shoe through a portal to hit you.
Not possible, fucker. And if you want me to meet that deadline of December 20th to have what was the deal about how much into Clone Wars by December 20th, then you gotta let me watch stuff on my own.
I will. We'll get there.
Let me watch stuff on my own.
Anywho,
Arr!
getting back to the video at hand.
Roar!
You have the Fiat G91, which is basically the Italians' attempt at creating the saber dog. And yes, that's what it's called. No, I will not elaborate.
I never elaborate.
Because it's funny. Anywho. I don't fucking know. Nakajima, we have the Nakajima Kiska, the shit test bed that they created. The Gloucester East.
What?
I'm gonna start calling. You know, I really don't understand why those mushrooms, they gotta be talking bad. Also, I said Nakajima. I don't know where you got shiitake mushrooms from that. I smell white women, Sonic. God damn it, that's gonna be clipped now. We have the Gloucester Meteor. Eventually, they went on to create the Gloucester Javelin, which I don't feel like talking about. I find my lack of G-force disturbing. Okay. Quit stealing my kills, you fucker!
I ain't doing shit. I'm playing Minecraft.
Go back to Poland where you belong.
Fucking Minecraft. Thank you, Creeper. You.
Creeper, I hardly know. The people over at de Havilland went on to create the Vampire Venom Sea Vixen. And the French version of the Sea Vixen called the Accolon. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. I'm not French. I do not understand.
So I don't give a shit.
I don't understand baguette language. I don't speak almost lost 2 world wars on their own. The Supermarine Company, known for the Supermarine Spitfire.
Well, we may not be French, but you might have some French viewers in here that might take offense to that.
I've made a joke. I've already made jokes about French people on this channel. They can't stop me. Y'all can't stop me on your Twitter. I've seen what these people. I know what these people look at. I've seen your random posts regarding nudist Sonic and Shadow. I've seen it. Don't make me leak that onto the internet. I'm mainly calling out Julie here because she knows what I'm talking about, but I'm not going to get into that.
No, you started talking about Sonic to a diehard Sonic fan. What the flying fuck was that?
I know several people with dirty minds. Beyond my own.
Yeah, you're talking to one of them, but I don't have that dirty of a freaking mind.
As I said, talk to Julie.
I think we are going to have a conversation, yes. Oh, a mine shaft.
And she can't trash me because I don't think she ever watches these videos.
Well, that's her loss.
Anywho, so they also created, so the Supermarine Spitfire, the producer of not this aircraft, surprisingly, but the Spitfire, which I will probably be playing after I fucking die, in a horrible plane crash. Let me quickly gun down this small child. Okay, there we go. We're good. Child has been ended. Adulthood has been averted. I'm out of bullets. That's not good. Game, give me more bullets. Quickly. Before I get shot through the heart, and you're to blame.
Does the game give one a bad name?
Probably. Why is there a Catalina here? Come on. Yeah, there we go. Hello, KI-43. I would like to say hello. Also, I am not going to read his name. God, that fucking name tag. Ah, I've been shot. Anywho, so Supermarine, they created the Supermarine Attacker and later the Supermarine Swift. Hawker, which created the Sea Hurricane that you just saw me play as. They produced the Seahawk. Avro Canada produced the CF-100 Canuck. Bell, of course, created the Era Comet. Lockheed, the Shooting Star. Ryan created the stupid-ass Fireball, which you know I'm for a fact that I'm probably casting into your house. McDonnell created the FH Phantom and later the F2H Banshee. We'll get back onto their associated. They love their mythology names. They also created a plane called the XF-85 Goblin. Which is probably what most women are going to be doing after this video. And I shall not elaborate on that. Because I do not feel like it. That, and I feel like I'd get canceled on YouTube for saying that. Also, we just heard your munchies. I heard your The munch noises.
That's from Minecraft.
Yes. I shall now say it in an extremely accurate German accent. Minecraft.
As a German person, I'm not saying that.
Well, you know I'm also German.
Yes. But if you would excuse me by saying, you are not the one in this friendship that looks the most German.
You know what? Fair enough. You do win in a whiteout competition.
I do.
And no, I will not elaborate on that. Oh, the goblin? Here's a funny story. It's what they call a parasite fighter. Basically, the idea was that they're like, you know what? Let's make a plane that attaches to a bigger plane. It honestly went very terribly. It was not that efficient at all. North American, they went on to build the F-86 Sabre and the FJ series of Fury planes, which is just the Sabre but for the Navy. Republic Aircraft, who are known for their fighter bombers. They created the Thunderjet and then Thunderstreak. And then later, when they were by the time that we were in Generation 2, the sequel, they created something called the Thunder Screech, which U.S. Air Force pilots called the Mighty what do they call it? The Mighty Earbanger. Because of the just extreme volume of the noise that it made, to the point where it actually destroyed any of the audio equipment that was near it. Which yeah, that's kind of not good. Oh shit, there goes my wing. Oh, I am dead. I seem to have died. Grumman, we'll get back to them in a little bit. They created the F9F Panther and F9 Cougar. Douglas created the F3D Skyknight. We don't talk about the Skyknight. The Skyknight is actually kind of shit. Vought created the Cutlass. It wasn't that good either. And Northrop created the F-89 Scorpion, which destroyed the city of Palo Alto, California. No, I will Google it. Just go Google it.
I don't think I want to.
Sweden created the Saab 21 and 21R, the Saab 32 Lansen, and the Saab 29 Tunnen. Mikoyan, they created the MiG-9 and MiG-15, followed by the MiG-17 Fresco. Shenyang basically copied both of their designs because it's China. And what is China known for if it's not their very terrible copies of existing products? Yakovlev created the Yak 1517 Feather, the Yak 23 Flora, the Yak 20 Fleet, and the Yak 25 Flashlight. I will say flashlight because, as I said, I know that there are people in this audience who do naughty things in their spare time.
Include little me.
I don't know about you. I don't want to know about you. Lavochkin made the LA-15 Fantail. The French Dassault company created the Oregon Mystère and Mystère 4, which were all a little bit goofy, suffice it to say. My gunners don't seem to be very accurate. I seem to be on fire. Ruh-roh, Raggy.
What, did you hear the zombie?
No, I am on fire. And I seem to be missing a wing. I am now phasing into the floor. The floor consumes. The floor, it hungers. It hungers. So, remember how I said that early fighter jets kind of had the problem of they were expensive and a lot of people didn't want to pay for them since they didn't really think it was worth it?
Uh-huh.
So, a few years later, in 1950, a funny little conflict happened to change people's minds. You know what that conflict was called?
What?
The Korean War, in which the Russians basically they sent out a bunch of MiG-15s, and slight problem that we had was the fact that our normal fighter planes, because we didn't really deploy any jets at the time, since they were expensive and they were still kind of in the testing phase. So these normal fighter planes started fighting them, and they were being out. They kind of weren't doing so well.
Oh, that's where all these bitches are coming from. It's a spawner down here.
That would
It
explain
makes so
things.
much more sense.
I am on fire. That's not good. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Right, Raggy. Raggy, where are my vesticles?
I wrote my ridiculous.
Raggy, I don't like
Context,
testicular
audience.
motion.
I quote that as much as I can.
And yet you haven't for the last
Why?
few weeks.
I haven't found the right context. It needs to be
You
in the right
don't
context.
you don't need any context.
Actually, I don't need it, but sometimes I want context for my weirdness.
It's funnier when it's out of context. Why zoink Scoob? I'm flying fighter jets now. And I'm getting my nuts taken
like
off, Scoob.
Like Zoink Scoob. There's zombies attacking me. Oh, hey, I think Bex joined me. Hi, Bex.
Hello, human.
Oh, that's a letter.
Now,
Oh, Zombie Bulger down here too.
the next generation of fighter jets would become very influential, despite the fact that they didn't really last very long. The next generation was the second generation. Now, for second generation aircraft, their ideas were, of course, laid down with the first generation. They wanted to become very fast. And after the Korean War, they realized, huh, these jets, they're really good. And they can be good at killing bombers. So let's kill some bombers. Most of these aircraft are supersonic, meaning they go past the speed of sound. The F-104, one of the most famous, it can go past Mach 2, which is very fast. Let me quickly where's the duck? Yeah, the duck. The nugget. I have the nugget.
Hold on here, sir. You just spawned in here without my consent. People.
Oh man.
Thank you.
So when they created these second generation fighter jets, they're like, huh, we should. What if we added radar to these planes now that it's like becoming smaller? So a lot of these planes now have fire control radars, meaning they can use the early missiles. Specifically, AIM-9 in the U.S. military, it was the AIM-9 Sidewinder, and later the AIM-7 Sparrow. So they're like, missile. We can go very fast and now have missile.
Wait, she's still in my game? Yes.
Come on. Tilt up. Thank you. Oh. I shall go fast because I gotta go fast. So the early kinds of aircraft that they started creating. So McDonnell went and created a plane called the F-3H Demon. Now, the Demon is kind of small. It's a itty bitty baby. Albeit it was designed for aircraft carriers. So it wasn't designed to be the largest thing in the universe to begin with.
Yeah.
However, they then went and created the F-101 Voodoo. The Voodoo is basically a larger version and more like a kind of fighter bomber version of the Demon. And eventually they kind of created an idea where it was like, let's make a bigger one. A lot of fighter jets within the second generation started getting rid of guns. So the Demon, Voodoo, and a lot of these planes, they don't have guns. Like, internally speaking. They can attach, like, gun pods to the exterior, but, like, they mainly relied on missiles. So the Douglas Company later created during this time frame they created the Skyray, which was kind of mid, I guess you could say. It wasn't the greatest. Meanwhile, the Republic Aviation Company, they decided, you know what, let's keep cooking. They went back to, you know what, let's make a fighter bomber. So they created the F-105 Thunder Chief, also known affectionately by its proponents as the Thud. It is a big, chunky fighter bomber.
A skeleton following me everywhere I freaking go.
The Thunder Chief was pretty good at its job, but it wasn't very capable in the air-to-air role. However, during this time, the Convair Company, they created a bunch of interceptors, the F-102 Delta Dagger, and later the F-106 Delta Dart.
Leave me alone! I want to get wood! I want to get wood, you fuckers! Fire!
For those of you on stream, I will allow you guys to take that out of context.
For those on stream, I am playing Minecraft with apparently my friend Rebecca joined me. I'm angry! 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 Can't get one piece of wood in this bitch.
I forgot that this thing doesn't have... Does this thing have chaff? North American went back on their Saber design and they decided, you know what, let's make it better. And they created the Super Saber, the F-100. Vought created the F-8 Crusader, which was for the Navy.
a bunch of companies just kind of decided to get weird with it. The Grumman company created the Tiger. It was pretty shit and was quickly replaced by other aircraft. English Electric for the UK, they built the Lightning, which was an interceptor, and yet somehow still managed to stick around throughout the late 1950s and into the early to late 1980s. They also created the Supermarine Scimitar and the Blackburn Buccaneer, with the Scimitar being a naval interceptor and the Buccaneer, of course, being a bomber. Well, fighter bomber. Also, the Fallen Company decided, let's make a plane called the Gnat. They named it after you, but just slightly more bug-like.
Hey.
It's also an itty-bitty baby. Meanwhile, in Soviet Russia, they decided to create the MiG-19, also call sign Farmer, and later the MiG-21, call sign Fishbed, and the Chinese version, the J-7, is called Fish Can. Also created the Fitter A, the Fish Pot, the Flagon, all of which were Sukhoi designs, the Su-7, Su-9, and Su-15 respectively. And later, the Tupolev Tu-28 was created. And I think this is kind of, with the benefit of hindsight, I think this call sign is a bit questionable. You know why? It's called the Fiddler.
The Fiddler?
Yes. Fiddler. Someone didn't fucking think that through.
Maybe it didn't mean what it means now.
I'm so sorry, children who are watching this video, if you are, in fact, watching this video. The Chinese went back and created a version of the J-7 called the Finback. France decided, let's make weird things, so they made the A-10 Dard, the Mirage 3, and the Vautour, which is a weird bomber thingy, mabobber. And meanwhile, Sweden, they created a plane called the Draken, and it's actually kind of cool. Because Sweden. I'm sorry. Sweden is cool. In the meantime, let's head back over to the United States of America, where we spread freedom and jam over our toast.
Sure.
But we don't call it toast, we call it bread, because we're normal fucking people. And we do not live in the United Kingdom. And we created this. The original Freedom Spreader. The F4 Phantom II. The first of the third generation. This is where we kind of get... This is the beginning of multi-role aircraft. Up to this point, it was either one or the other. You have an attack aircraft or you have a fighter aircraft. You cannot have both. This can do both. I'm not going to get too heavily into the F4 Phantom because I have a video planned for it. But long story short,
they basically, this was a Navy fighter that then the Air Force was forced to adopt. And it saw heavy combat in Vietnam. Well, actually, most of the third generation saw combat at some point during the Cold War and its various proxy conflicts. Most of these, despite their excessive age, a lot of these are still in service. Ooh, I get a British Phantom. Also worth mentioning that the F4 Phantom is still in service today, despite being introduced in 1960. That's right, it's 64 years old, and it's still in service today. Sorry, helicopter.
I don't think you're sorry.
No, I'm spreading freedom to
I
these
think so.
uncivilized creatures. So, aircraft within the third generation, as I said, most of them are still around. In the US, we have the F4 Phantom II, the F5 Tiger, produced by the Northrop Company, unrelated to the F11 Tiger, which was produced for the Navy. The F5 Tiger is, for the most part, a ow. The F-111 Aardvark, which is a fighter bomber that mainly saw service with the with the U.S. Air Force and the Royal Australian Air Force in Vietnam and various other conflicts during the Cold War and even after, with aardvarks in Australian service, even seeing combat in Afghanistan. Ooh, I'm gonna fucking cry. Okay. We clutched it. I didn't fucking die. So some of them stuck around until like all the way until Afghanistan. By this point, they had been long retired with the U.S. Air Force. I can't see what I'm doing. I'm upside down. Where the fuck is this guy? So yeah, you have the F-111, the F-4. The F-5 is kind of like an interceptor. So its job is basically, I can kill bombers and intercept air targets. That's kind of the idea. So interceptors are just kind of designed to be fast and smooth.
Hi, Bex. Say bye.
Bye, Human.
Bye, Bex. I enjoy playing games with you. And she gave me armor. I think she found my dead body, so thank you. Okay. Now back to what I was doing. Ooh.
The French, they decided, you know what, let's improve upon existing designs. So they created the Mirage, the F1 and the 5. And then later the Super A10 Dart, improving upon the existing A10 Dart 4.
I'm totally building the Black Pearl right now. Oh my god. I'm building the Black Pearl!
You are glitching out your audio, ma'am.
Yours earlier. Yeah, but I'm totally making the Black Pearl right now. Oh my god. I'm making the Black Pearl! Tell me about the thing.
Hit this guy with my cannon. The Russians, in the meantime, they created the Flogger, Foxbat, and Foxhound, with the Flogger being kind of like, it's an air-to-ground aircraft, so it's an attack aircraft. The Foxbat and Foxhound are basically fighter interceptors. They're not very good at the multi-role thing. However, that's not what the U.S. government thought, and I'll get into that. So the Russians also created another version of the fighter called the Su-7, the Sukhoi Su-17, and also the 20 and the 22, which are all part of the fighter family of aircraft. They're all kind of basically bombers. Despite the name, they are they are bomber aircraft essentially. The Yakolev Yak-38 is basically also known as Forger, is a VTOL aircraft that kind of does the attack role, but not really. But it's also kind of like a fighter. It's a vertical takeoff and landing aircraft. It's also not the first to do it. It's also the last of the third generation to be produced. since by the time it rolls around, it's like the late 1970s. The only reason I really include it in the third generation is because it uses basically everything from the third generation. It's not like special or anything. It's not that advanced. To be perfectly honest, it's pretty it's old, or at least its technology is old. Sweden, of course, improved upon their Draken design and created the Viggen. That is, for YouTube's sake, that is spelled Viggen, but I will also call it the J37. Israel decided to get in on the trend and build their own fighters for a little bit. So they created the IAI Nesher and IAI Kefir, which are both third generation. They're pretty decent, I guess. They're kind of like in the interceptor role. The British, in the meantime, they created the Sepakat Jaguar, which is not technically a fighter jet, but it's a multi-role ground attack aircraft capable of fighting in the air, if that makes any sense. It's a strike fighter. In the meantime, let's hop back over to the US. Now, somebody in the US, they decided, so they thought that the Foxbat and Foxhound were actually like very dangerous multi-role aircraft. So the people over in the US Air Force, they decided to all get together and collectively decide, damn, they're making a plane better than us? Fuck that. So they built a plane that can actually do everything that they said it can. This is the F-15 Eagle. I'll get to its own story and the other stories about these aircraft in a bit. So basically, they created their own fighter aircraft that turned out to be so much more better and so much more advanced than the Foxbat and Foxhound. Here's the other thing. The Navy, at the same time, they were invited to this. However, the Navy said no. So they developed their own aircraft because the Air Force was being a piece of shit. That's it. They didn't join because Air Force stuff didn't line up with what they wanted. So, while McDonnell Douglas created the F-15, Grumman created the F-14. Oh, and they also skipped the prototyping process, so that basically they went into full production. Like, no test aircraft were built, just going straight into full production. The reason for this is basically because they were pissed off at the little amount of money that they were getting after Vietnam. So that's why they just kind of skipped the prototyping process.
Mm-hmm.
And the Air Force did the same thing with the Eagle, so it kind of evens itself out. And so basically, the fourth generation of fighters, which is the new generation that the F-15 Eagle belongs to, as well as the Tomcat, the Hornet, the Fighting Falcon, the Fulcrum, modern versions of the Flogger, the Flanker, and a few other aircraft belong to. So fourth generation, they bring something new to the table. Basically, well, in addition to perfecting the multi-role capability that like the third generation. Oh.
Uh, well, she just left, so let's take a brief pause until she gets back. Hello, welcome back.
Hi, Sally.
What happened?
I accidentally out of Chrome.
Ah. Anywho, so basically, fourth generation, they're like trying to perfect multi-role capability. They also have a new technology. Well, actually, three new technologies. Well, technically five. We'll get into that. So at this time they have all aspect. They create the AESA radar. AESA radars, they're a lot more efficient than normal radars. So AESA stands for Active Electronically Scanned Array. So in most like radars prior to AESA, these were like up until this, most radars were phased array, or they were a specific kind of phased array that are not. They're called passive electronically scanned arrays. Basically, the AESA is more like you can see in every direction. The older systems, you could see what was in front of you, and that was it. So you had the AESA radar and its assorted like fire control systems that were extremely advanced for the time. You also had the introduction of active radar homing missiles, basically meaning like they have a little baby radar on their own in the missile. So the missile does in fact know where it is at all times. He knows where he's going. He's not a little eepy. He knows where he's going. And where he's going is probably going to destroy you. So like examples of like active radar homing missiles that they decided to build, at first they created what I have on screen. This is the AIM 54 Phoenix, produced by Hughes. Yes, the Hughes company. Not really known. They also at the time they built helicopters and a few other things. But you know what they're mostly known for. They built a massive flying boat out of wood. It's called the Spruce Goose. So yeah, this is Howard Hughes.
Ever heard?
Yeah. So the same people who built the Spruce Goose and Howard Hughes, that's his company, they built this. It goes very far, which is kind of the point. These kind of like active radar homing missiles, these are like your mid to long range missiles. I'll get into that later. Or at least I'll get into it in a separate video of its own. These kinds of planes, because of their advanced avionics, they also have what we call fly-by-wire controls. So these like controls are more responsive.
You also have new technologies like all aspect air to air missiles. All aspect meaning basically you can shoot from anywhere. So long as you have radar lock, you can just shoot anywhere on an aircraft. It doesn't really matter. If that makes any sense.
Kind of.
Basically, before you had to like just get up right behind somebody's and basically right behind them and then shoot them. But now you can shoot them from above. You could shoot them from right in front of you. Doesn't really matter. And that makes it a lot easier. So in this like kind of family, you have the F-14, F-18, the Tomcat, the F-16 Fighting Falcon, the MiG-29 Fulcrum, the MiG-27 Flogger, the Su-27 Flanker, and the Su-30 Flanker, the Hawker Siddeley Harrier and its successor, the Sea Harrier, the Panavia Tornado in its variants, the French Mirage 2000, the Chinese JH-7 Flounder and JL-9 Fish Can, and the Taiwanese fighter called the FCK-1 Ching Kuo. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly for my Taiwanese viewers, if I have any. I don't know Chinese. I'm sorry. So these kinds of fighters, they're like, at the time that they were being built, these were like the pinnacle of technology. So this is like late 70s, early 80s that they're building these. This was the peak of movies. Top Gun. These planes are from Top Gun. These are the planes from Top Gun.
Okie dokie.
So these
I've
are
never
like,
seen Top Gun.
how dare you?
I'm happy with the fact that I've never seen Top Gun. Okay. Neither has my parents or my brother.
How dare you?
I'm proud of the fact that I've never seen Top Gun. Thank you.
I don't know.
Bitch of a drown stole my sand. Don't twirl with my sand. Give me my sand. You stole my sand.
You know what? Maybe you deserve it. Anywho.
My sand.
So during the interim period, so this is like the late Cold War. By this point, it's worth mentioning that like basically for this time period, like it doesn't really matter. Most of the planes or whatever are being produced by like the same people, and like the countries don't really like developing new planes on their own anymore by this point. They're like, it's better if somebody else develops it and then we can just buy from them. Because it's cheaper for them. Because they don't have to spend money on new planes. However, the US, they also are like, you know what if we improved the really nice stuff that we've designed? So they build they create the 4.5. So if the last one was the 4th generation, this is 4.5. These are the Strike Eagle, the Super Hornet, the Viper version of the F-16
the French Dassault Rafale, the Swedish Gripen, the German, British, Italian Eurofighter, modern versions of the Flanker, modern versions of the Fulcrum, the Chinese Firebird, and a few other aircraft. Basically, these are the new modern aircraft. This was like the modern standard. However, the US, being the US, we weren't impressed enough with our own technological superiority over the Russians. You know, we were like, you know what? Our hyper advanced technology isn't hyper advanced enough. So basically, we're like, you know what? Let's make an advanced aircraft to replace the F-15.
Oh man. The least you could have done is given me your trident if you were going to try killing me.
So, do you have like any idea what the U.S. possibly could have done to make these already extremely advanced aircraft even more advanced?
Give them more guns? I don't know.
Surprisingly, no. Albeit somebody did think about it. So, what they eventually decided to do was basically they're like, but what if they can't see us when we're shooting at them? So they created a stealth. They decided, you know what? Let's take our lessons that we learned from the F-117 Nighthawk, which is not really a fighter, which is why I have not talked about it during this entire video. As I said, it's not really a fighter. It's more of a strategic bomber, if anything. So they decided to create a stealth aircraft. They went to two companies to do this. The Lockheed Company, which was now Lockheed Martin, and a relative, well, not really a newcomer. They decided to also go with McDonnell Douglas for this contract. So Lockheed created the F-22 Raptor. McDonnell Douglas decided to create the YF-23 Grey Ghost. Unfortunately, the Grey Ghost did not win, despite the fact that it's quite possible that Lockheed might have done what they had done in the 1960s, and they bribed the US government into adopting the F-22 Raptor, which was still a very good pick. But it's quite possible that the US government might have been bribed, despite the fact that Grey Ghost might have been a lot better than the Raptor was. So yeah, there's that. In the meantime, the Russians, they decided to experiment with their own stealth aircraft, the Su-57 Felon. And then the Chinese created the J-20, codename Fagin. Fagin for those of you who are going to cancel me on Twitter. It's not a swear word. It's also not a word. At least as far as I know, anyways. Worth mentioning that neither of these planes are as stealthy as the F-22 Raptor. However, then the US designed the F-35 Lightning, and which is its own mess that probably deserves its own video. But yeah, we designed two stealth planes three stealth planes technically, that ended up being better than anything that anyone else could design. Because, America. Also worth mentioning that as of recording and writing this video, there are a few aircraft that are in the 5th generation that are in development, including the Korean KF-21 Borumai, the Chinese Shenyang J-35/FC-31 Geyer Falcon, the Indian HAL AMCA, and the Japanese Mitsubishi F3/F6 or FX, which all of those are 5th generation. And as of writing and recording this video, the US government, Japan, the United Kingdom, Germany, and France are all working on their own 6th generation fighter projects. Yes, 6th generation fighter projects. We're barely on Gen 5. Not the show. We're barely on Gen 5. And the government is already like, all right, how do we make this better? It's simple. Drone fighters. They want drones. Because I don't fucking know. Honestly, how I think they come up with this shit is they're like, you know what? This sounds cool. Let's make that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's kind of what I think they ended up doing. Albeit, I cannot actually be sure. So yeah. What's your opinion? Or did you learn anything?
I learned a lot because, like I said, I knew nothing about jets or anything aviation related.
Fair enough. I honestly didn't really know much until I started to get into it. Is there any questions that you have?
No, I don't think so.
Anything that you learned that you think is particularly interesting?
And Japan was an idiot. We're idiots.
Yeah. Britain on their way to create a technology out of nothing and then not pay for it. Is there anything in particular that you might want to learn more about for like a sequel video, I guess you could say?
I don't think so.
Ow.
Just tending to my farm. My farmy farm. Ending to my farm.
What on earth are you even singing?
I'm getting.
Oh shit. I've died. Well, I think that's a great end to the video. That'll be it for today, everyone. I hope y'all have a nice Saturday. I will probably be uploading a YouTube video for my main channel soon. Perhaps even in a few minutes after this. Yes. I didn't. I'm sorry that I didn't see this earlier. Quote, the idiots of gaming. I am sorry that I didn't see this earlier, but yes, Natalie has not seen Top Gun.
No, I have not, and I'm proud of that fact. And you can go fuck off.
Disgusting.
You can go. I'll go fuck off.
Well, maybe you should fuck off. Okay, that'll be it for today, everyone. I hope y'all have a nice Saturday. Please, just a reminder, please donate to the things. Please don't. Please make sure that I go to like London or something. Please, just do all the things. Doesn't matter. Just do all the things. I hope. Do you have any parting wisdom that you would wish to impart?
I have not seen Top Gun, and I will never see Top Gun. Aha!
Don't worry, chat. I will make sure that she pays for the sin. That'll be it.
Top Gun. I don't care to. Never seen Top Gun. I don't care to.
That'll be it for today, chat. Hope y'all have a nice day. Goodbye.